First contact. The research vessel Horizon wasn't designed for diplomatic missions, Dr. Aya Chen reminded herself as she checked her equipment one last time. The xenobiologist had spent 3 years convincing Earth's Interstellar Council to approve this expedition to Nebulon, and now that moment had arrived. Final approach to Nebulonian docking station, announced Commander Cooper through the ship's communication system. Dr. Chen, please prepare for arrival protocol. Aya's heart raced as she gathered her research tablets. Something about this mission felt different from her previous expeditions to non-terrestrial worlds. Perhaps it was the fact that Nebulonians had only recently opened their borders to human researchers after centuries of isolation. The ship shuddered gently as it connected with the crystalline docking bay. Aya stepped into the airlock chamber, breathing deeply to calm her nerves. The atmospheric readout confirmed compatibility with human physiology, though she noted the slightly higher oxygen content would take adjustment. "Remember," Cooper said, joining her at the airlock, "this is primarily a scientific exchange. Keep interactions professional. The Council wants biological samples, not diplomatic incidents." Aya nodded, though she felt a flicker of annoyance at the reminder. She was a senior xenobiologist, not some eager recruit. "I've done this before, Alex." The airlock hissed open, revealing a vast chamber constructed of what appeared to be living crystal. The surfaces pulsed with subtle bioluminescence, creating patterns that seemed almost mathematical in their precision. "Welcome, Earth Delegate." The voice was melodic, with a resonance that seemed to vibrate through Aya's chest rather than just her ears. A tall figure stepped forward from a group of Nebulonians. Their ambassador, Threx, was exactly as the briefing materials had described: purple skin that captured light and reflected it with subtle intensity. Eyes larger than human standard, with vertical pupils that adjusted visibly as they focused on the human visitors. "We are honored by your scientific interest in our world," Threx continued, with formal precision. "You will be guided by Kai, one of our biological research specialists." Another Nebulonian moved forward, and Aya felt something unexpected, a sudden flutter in her chest that had nothing to do with the alien atmosphere. Kai was slender, with deep violet skin that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Long silver hair was braided intricately, falling past narrow shoulders. The Nebulonian's eyes were mesmerizing, with shifting colors that reminded Aya of opals on Earth. "This is my first assignment with a human researcher," Kai said, voice softer than the ambassador's but with the same musical quality. "I hope to serve adequately as your guide to our biological systems." "I'm sure we'll work well together," Aya replied, surprised at how breathless she suddenly felt. As they walked through corridors that seemed to grow rather than having been constructed, Aya noticed how Kai maintained a precise distance between them, approximately 1 meter at all times. She recalled reading that Nebulonians are typically touch-averse with other species, their skin reportedly sensitive to foreign biochemistry. "Your species fascinates me," Kai admitted, suddenly as they turned down a quieter passage. "So similar in structural formation, yet so different in essence. The convergent evolution is remarkable." "I suspect we're more alike than different," Aya suggested, watching as Kai's opalescent eyes widened slightly. "Our elders would strongly disagree. They say humans are unpredictable, driven by emotion rather than harmony." "And what do you think?" Aya asked. Kai hesitated. "I believe I would prefer to form my own conclusions." They reached Aya's assigned quarters, a chamber that seemed carved from a single crystal, with walls that hummed with gentle light. As Kai demonstrated the environmental controls, their fingers accidentally brushed together. Kai gasped, the purple skin flushing to a deeper violet. "I'm sorry," Aya said quickly. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." "No," Kai interrupted, voice suddenly soft. "It wasn't unpleasant, just unexpected." Their eyes met, and for a moment, Aya felt something like an electrical current passing between them, a connection that transcended their biological differences. "I will return in 3 hours to escort you to the research facility," Kai said, resuming formal distance. Please rest and acclimate to our gravity. As Kai departed, Aya remained motionless, her hand still tingling where their skin had touched. Something unprecedented had just occurred, something beyond scientific explanation, something that made her wonder if this mission might become far more significant than anyone had anticipated. Forbidden curiosity. 3 days into her research mission, Aya found herself spending every possible moment with Kai. What began as formal tours through Nebulon's biological research facilities had evolved into increasingly personal conversations. Their professional relationship provided the perfect excuse for their growing closeness. These crystal forests are our most precious ecosystem, Kai explained as they walked through towering formations that captured and refracted the light of Nebulon's twin suns. The crystalline structures weren't truly plants, but something uniquely Nebulonian, living mineral formations that grew and responded to their environment. Aya recorded data on her tablet, though she found her attention repeatedly drawn to her guide. Kai stood closer now, just under a meter away, the initial caution gradually dissolving. The harmonics they produce affect our physiological rhythms, Kai continued. We believe this synchronization is essential to our collective well-being. Speaking of physiological rhythms, Aya said, watching how the breeze played through Kai's silver hair, I've been meaning to ask about your cardiovascular system. Our preliminary scans suggest similarities to human biology, but with notable differences. Would you like to feel it? Kai interrupted, then immediately looked shocked at this suggestion. Aya froze, remembering her briefing materials. I thought Nebulonians don't. We don't, Kai confirmed, voice barely audible above the crystal harmonics. But I want to try with you. Slowly, Kai took Aya's hand and placed it against the center of their chest, slightly higher than a human heart would be. Beneath her fingers, through the thin fabric of Kai's iridescent garment, Aya felt it, a rhythmic pulsing that seemed to quicken at her touch. Remarkable, she whispered, her scientist's mind cataloging the tempo, strength, and pattern while something far less analytical responded to the intimacy of the moment. Wait, Kai said, eyes widening. They moved Aya's hand slightly, then pressed their own palm against Aya's chest. For several seconds, Kai stood perfectly still, expression transforming from concentration to wonder. Impossible, Kai breathed. What is it? They're synchronizing, Kai said, meeting Aya's eyes. Your heartbeat and mine, they're matching rhythm. That never happens across species, never. Aya felt it too now, the way their pulses seemed to call and answer each other, gradually falling into perfect alignment. It wasn't just proximity, it was harmony. This is why I don't feel dissonance with you, Kai continued, voice trembling slightly. Our biorhythms are compatible, complementary. The scientific implications were staggering, but Aya could barely focus on them. All she could feel was the warmth of Kai's skin beneath her palm, the thrum of Kai's heart beating in time with her own, and the way those opalescent eyes reflected the crystalline lights around them. Is this normal for your people? She asked. Kai shook her head, silver hair shimmering. No, you're my first human. The words hung between them, laden with meanings beyond the obvious. First human touch, first cross-species resonance, first forbidden connection. Almost imperceptibly, they had drawn closer. The standard Nebulonian distance protocol had collapsed entirely. Now, mere centimeters separated them, and Aya could detect the sweet, slightly spicy scent that emanated from Kai's violet skin. We should probably return to the research facility, Kai said, though making no move to step away. Probably, Aya agreed, equally motionless. Their hands remained pressed against each other's hearts, the synchronized rhythm binding them in a way no formal research protocol ever could. That night, alone in her quarters, Aya couldn't sleep. Her skin still tingled where Kai had touched her, and her heart seemed to search for the rhythm it had shared with the Nebulonian. She tried to rationalize what had happened. There must be a scientific explanation, some biological compatibility that could be studied and documented. But the way Kai had looked at her suggested something beyond science, something neither of their species had prepared for. A soft chime indicated someone at her door. At this hour, Aya opened it to find Kai standing there, looking equally sleepless. "I couldn't stay away," Kai whispered. "Since we separated, I felt a discomfort, a longing I've never experienced before." "I feel it too," Aya admitted. "Like something's missing." Kai stepped into the room, and the discomfort immediately eased. "The ancient texts mention something like this, but I need to be certain. Come with me tomorrow night. There's somewhere I need to take you, somewhere forbidden to outsiders." "That could jeopardize my mission," Aya said, though she already knew her answer. "It could jeopardize much more than that, but I believe it's important, more important than diplomatic protocols." As Kai moved closer, Aya felt their hearts beginning to synchronize again. Like planets falling into orbital resonance, they seemed destined to align. Despite all her scientific training, all her years studying xenobiology, nothing had prepared her for this feeling. This wasn't just discovery. This was connection. "I'll go wherever you need to take me," Aya said softly. Kai's eyes shimmered with emotion. "Tomorrow then, after the final research cycle, when the second sun sets." As Kai reluctantly departed, Aya knew with absolute certainty that whatever they discovered tomorrow would change everything. Her mission, her career, perhaps even the relationship between their worlds. And yet she couldn't bring herself to care. All that mattered was understanding the impossible connection growing between them, a connection that defied both science and protocol. Ancient secrets. The Nebulonian archives were strictly forbidden to visiting humans, but Kai had smuggled Aya inside during the quiet midnight cycle. The great library of Nebulonian knowledge hovered before them, data crystals suspended in a gravity field, glowing with accumulated wisdom. "What exactly are we looking for?" Aya whispered, though they were alone in the vast chamber. Kai's fingers danced through the holographic interface. "References to cross-species resonance. There must be precedent, something to explain what's happening between us." 5 days had passed since they discovered their synchronizing heartbeats, and the connection had only strengthened. When they were apart, Aya felt a physical discomfort, a dull ache that only eased when Kai was near. From Kai's increasingly frequent visits to her quarters, she suspected the Nebulonian felt the same. "Here," Kai said suddenly, isolating a pulsing crystal that glowed with unusual intensity, "ancient xenobiological records from before the isolation era." Kai pressed her palm against the crystal, and information flooded the air around them. Images of Nebulonians alongside other alien species, medical diagrams, and scrolling text in flowing Nebulonian script. "This can't be right," Kai murmured, their purple skin paling slightly. "It says Nebulonians once regularly formed attachments with compatible species." Aya moved closer, wishing she could read the intricate script. "What kind of attachments?" "Biological bonds," Kai explained, voice filled with wonder. "Physiological connections that altered both parties at the cellular level." Their voice dropped even lower. "Intimate connections." The word intimate sent a current through Aya that had nothing to do with science. Over the past days, their touches had become more frequent. hands brushing shoulders, meeting once even a fleeting touch of Kai's fingers against her cheek. Each contact left her skin tingling, as if Kai's touch altered her at some fundamental level. "Why did they stop?" she asked. Kai's expression darkened. The great sundering. The records say bonded pairs couldn't survive separation. When interstellar conflict cut off access between worlds, those who had formed these connections died, both partners simultaneously. The implications hung heavy between them. They were experiencing the first stages of a bond that had been deliberately suppressed from Nebulonian culture for generations. "That explains the touch aversion protocols," Aya said quietly. "It's not just cultural, it's survival." Kai nodded, then suddenly stiffened as footsteps echoed from a distant corridor. Quickly, they dismissed the holographic displays and pulled Aya behind a column of shimmering data crystals. In the confined space, they pressed together. Kai's body against hers. Aya could feel Kai's heart racing against her chest, once again perfectly matching her accelerated pulse. Kai's silver hair tickled her face, carrying that intoxicating spice-sweet scent that had begun to haunt her dreams. The footsteps grew louder, then paused. Aya held her breath. Kai's grip on her research uniform, their faces inches apart. The danger of discovery only heightened the electricity between them. Finally, the footsteps receded. They should have separated immediately, returned to a safe distance. Instead, Kai's grip on her uniform tightened. "I've been researching human customs," Kai whispered, breath warm against Aya's lips. "The way humans express connection." Aya swallowed hard. "We have many ways." "Show me one," Kai said, opalescent eyes holding hers. She hesitated only a moment before leaning forward, closing the small distance between them. When their lips met, a jolt like static electricity passed between them. Kai gasped against her mouth, the purple skin beginning to glow with a soft, pulsing light that matched their shared heartbeat. What began as gentle exploration quickly deepened into something more urgent. Kai's hands moved up to frame Aya's face, their skin leaving trails of warmth wherever it touched hers. The kiss became more than just physical. Aya felt as if something was transferring between them, cellular information exchanging, boundaries dissolving. When they finally parted, breathless, Kai's entire body was emitting that faint violet luminescence. Their silver hair seemed to float slightly, as if responding to an unseen current. "That was," Kai began, then simply shook her head, words failing. "I know," Aya whispered, equally stunned by the intensity of what had passed between them. As they carefully made their way back to Aya's quarters, avoiding the night patrols, Kai explained more of what they'd discovered. The ancient texts call it resonance bonding. It's mentioned in our oldest legends, but was systematically removed from modern teaching. "My people have myths too," Aya said, "about souls recognizing each other across vast distances, about connections that transcend physical boundaries." "This is more than myth," Kai insisted. "The records showed biological changes in both partners, cellular adaptation, genetic exchange. Even over distance, bonded pairs maintained physiological synchronization. My people would call this a significant scientific discovery," Aya said, though she knew this went far beyond research. "My people would call it dangerous," Kai replied. "Our society is built on isolation. When the ancient bonds were broken, thousands died. The survivors established protocols to ensure it never happened again." As they reached Aya's quarters, the reality of their situation settled between them. This wasn't just about breaking research protocols or risking diplomatic incidents. This was about challenging fundamental societal structures on both their worlds. "What happens now?" Aya asked as they stood at her doorway. "Tomorrow, the council has requested your presence," Kai said. "They want a progress report on your research." "Should I mention what we found?" Kai's expression grew troubled. "No. Our leaders fear change. They would separate us immediately, perhaps even terminate your mission. I need time to understand more about what's happening between us. As Kai reluctantly prepared to leave, Aya caught their hand. Stay with me tonight. I don't want to be apart. The request hung in the air, charged with meaning. Kai hesitated only briefly before nodding. The resonance is stronger when we're together. It would be easier to hide our connection if we remain close. They both knew it was more than practicality driving this decision, but neither spoke this truth out loud. As the door closed behind them, sealing them into their private sanctuary away from judging eyes, the glow emanating from Kai's skin brightened, illuminating the crystal walls of Aya's quarters with patterns that seemed to dance to the rhythm of their synchronized hearts. Impossible choice. The Nebulonian High Council chamber intimidated even the most seasoned diplomats, but for Aya, standing beside Commander Cooper, while Kai translated, it felt particularly oppressive. The 7 elder Nebulonians regarded her with expressions she couldn't fully interpret, their opalescent eyes revealing nothing of their thoughts. "Dr. Chen," began Elder Saria, the oldest council member, "your research progress is commendable, but we have concerns." Cooper shifted uncomfortably beside her. "What concerns? Dr. Chen has followed all protocols." Aya felt her heart race and noticed Kai subtly placing a hand over their own chest. The bond between them had strengthened over the past week, making it increasingly difficult to hide their connection. "Our biosensors detected unusual readings," Elder Saria continued. "Specifically, a synchronization pattern between Dr. Chen and junior researcher Kai. This pattern is consistent with ancient forbidden onding." The chamber fell silent. Cooper looked confused, but Aya felt her blood run cold. They knew. "We have reviewed the archive access logs," added Elder Thren. "Someone accessed sealed historical records regarding cross-species bonding. The terminal registered both human and Nebulonian biosignatures." Kai stepped forward. "Honorable Elders, I take full responsibility. I was curious about—" "Silence!" Elder Saria's voice reverberated through the chamber. "The ancient teachings are restricted for a reason. The sundering nearly destroyed our civilization. We cannot risk such catastrophe again." Cooper turned to Aya, confusion evident. What are they talking about? Before she could answer, Elder Saria continued. "Dr. Chen, your research mission is terminated. You will depart Nebulon within 1 planetary rotation. Junior researcher Kai will undergo resonance purification." "Purification?" Aya asked, alarm rising. Kai paled visibly. "It's a procedure designed to break resonance bonds, a complete neurological reset." "That sounds dangerous," Cooper interjected. "It is necessary," Elder Saria stated. "The alternative is death when separation occurs. The human leaves our world, and the bond stretches beyond sustainable limits. Both would suffer neural collapse." Aya felt panic rising. There must be alternatives, research options we could explore together. "The decision is final," Elder Saria declared, "for the protection of both individuals and the peace between our worlds." As they were dismissed from the chamber, Cooper demanded explanations, but Aya could barely focus. Her mind raced with implications. The thought of losing Kai was unbearable, but the alternative seemed equally impossible. Could she abandon her life on Earth? Would Earth even allow a Nebulonian immigrant? And what of the purification procedure? Would it fundamentally change who Kai was? Later, in Aya's quarters, they clung to each other, desperation in every touch. "I won't let them erase what we found," Kai whispered against her neck. "There's another way, in the ancient texts. Pairs who completed the bond could maintain connection across vast distances." "Complete the bond?" Aya asked. "How?" Kai's skin glowed with intensity. "A deep resonance synchronization, a joining of bodies, minds, and energy patterns. It's in the sealed records I glimpsed before we were discovered."
Aya pulled back to meet Kai's eyes. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "It's dangerous," Kai admitted, "and permanent, but it would allow us to survive separation. It would let me leave with you." "Leave everything you know? Your world? Your people?" "What choice do we have?" Kai asked. "Purification would destroy who I am, what we found. Or we separate and both die. Either way, we lose everything." Aya's scientific mind raced, analyzing implications, risks, possibilities. But her heart already knew the answer. The connection between them transcended research, transcended species, even transcended worlds. "How do we complete this bond?" she asked, her decision made. Kai's eyes shimmered with emotion. "We have until tomorrow's first sunrise. We need somewhere safe, somewhere connected to the crystal harmonics. And if it works, we must convince your Commander Cooper to help us leave together before the Council realizes what we've done." As they embraced, their hearts synchronizing perfectly, Aya knew they were about to challenge not just Nebulonian tradition, but perhaps the very laws of interstellar diplomacy. Whatever came next would change everything between their worlds. But in this moment, all that mattered was the impossible choice they'd made: to fight for a connection that defied explanation. A bond that offered both incredible risk and the promise of something neither of their worlds had seen in generations. True resonance across the stars.
Beyond worlds. The ancient crystal caves beneath Nebulan's research facility hummed with energy as Aya and Kai moved deeper into the network of tunnels. The bioluminescent crystals responded to their presence, intensifying their glow with each synchronized heartbeat. "The records say this was once a sacred place," Kai whispered, guiding Aya through a narrow passage, "where ancient bonds were formalized before the sundering." They emerged into a vast chamber where massive crystal formations created a natural amphitheater. The ceiling opened to Nebulan's night sky, where 3 moons cast overlapping light, creating patterns across the crystal floor. "It's beautiful," Aya breathed, her voice echoing slightly. "And dangerous," Kai added. "The Council monitors these caves, but the lunar convergence tonight creates interference in their sensors. We have perhaps 2 hours before they detect us." They moved to the center of the chamber, where a pool of luminescent liquid rippled without any apparent current. Kai knelt beside it, trailing fingers through the substance, which clung momentarily to purple skin before falling away. "Resonance fluid," Kai explained. "It amplifies bioenergetic patterns and facilitates cellular synchronization." Aya's scientific curiosity battled with nervous anticipation. What exactly happens during this bonding? Kai met her eyes. "Our bodies will exchange biological information, permanently altering our cellular structures. The resonance between us will stabilize, becoming sustainable across distances." "And the risks?" "If incomplete, the process can overwhelm neural pathways," Kai said softly. "The ancient texts describe cases where both partners were lost, their minds unable to integrate the shared consciousness." Aya swallowed hard. "And you're willing to risk that, to leave your world behind?" Kai's expression softened. "What is a world compared to finding someone who makes your heart beat in perfect rhythm? I've spent my life studying biological systems, but never understood true connection until you." They began preparing the ritual, Kai removing layers of iridescent clothing while explaining each step. The resonance requires direct contact, minimal barriers. Aya followed suit, her scientific detachment giving way to something more primal, more intimate. As they stood facing each other, the luminescent pool reflecting light across their skin, Aya was struck by both their differences and similarities.
two beings from different worlds, yet somehow perfectly aligned. "We begin with synchronized breathing," Kai instructed, taking Aya's hands, "then immersion in the resonance fluid." As they stepped into the pool, the liquid rose around them, clinging to their bodies like a second skin. The sensation was electric. Every nerve ending suddenly heightened, intensified. Aya gasped as the fluid seemed to seep into her very pores, carrying with it something of Kai's essence. "Focus on our connection," Kai whispered, their foreheads touching. "Feel the rhythm between us." Their hearts beat as one, their breathing aligned. Aya felt boundaries beginning to blur. Where did she end and Kai begin? The distinction seemed increasingly meaningless as sensation, thoughts, and emotions flowed between them. Kai's hands framed her face. "Now we complete what began with our first touch." Their lips met and the world exploded into pure sensation. The kiss deepened, transcending physical connection, becoming something more fundamental. Aya felt herself dissolving, reforming, molecules rearranging to accommodate something new, something shared. Images flooded her consciousness. Nebulonian history, Kai's childhood, Earth seen through telescope lenses, theoretical physics, crystal harmonics, her own memories reflected back through alien perspective, their minds intertwining as surely as their bodies. When they finally separated, Aya gasped, feeling fundamentally changed. The resonance fluid had been absorbed completely, leaving their skin dry but subtly altered. Kai's purple complexion now held hints of human pigmentation, while Aya's own skin shimmered faintly with nebulonian luminescence. "I can feel you," Aya whispered amazed. "Not just physically, I can sense your thoughts, your emotions." "The bond is complete," Kai confirmed with wonder. "Even across stars, this connection will remain." A distant alarm shattered the moment. "They've detected us," Kai said, urgency in their voice. "We must reach your ship before the Council implements containment protocols." They dressed hurriedly, gathering their belongings. The journey back through the crystal tunnels felt different now. Aya could sense directions through Kai's knowledge, navigating with confidence that wasn't entirely her own. Commander Cooper waited at Aya's quarters, expression thunderous. "The Council is demanding immediate departure and something about a resonance violation. What have you done, Chen?" "Something unprecedented," she replied, feeling Kai's silent support through their bond. "Something that will change how our species interact forever." "I'm coming with her," Kai stated, simply. Cooper's eyes widened. "That's impossible. The diplomatic implications alone." "With respect, Commander," Aya interrupted, "we don't have time for debate. The Council will be implementing purification protocols. If we don't leave now, with Kai, we risk interstellar incident." "They'll think we've kidnapped you," Cooper said to Kai. "I've left documentation of my choice," Kai replied. "And the biological changes we've undergone are evidence enough. This is no abduction. This is evolution." As they rushed toward the docking bay, Aya felt the Council security forces mobilizing through Kai's awareness of Nebulonian systems. The shared consciousness gave them precious minutes advantage, allowing them to reach the horizon just as alarms blared across the facility. Elder Saraya's voice echoed through communication channels. "Earth Vessel Horizon, you harbor a resonance violation. Return Junior Researcher Kai immediately." Cooper hesitated at the ship's controls. "Chen, if I do this, there's no going back. Earth might not welcome a Nebulonian refugee." "Then we'll find another world," Aya said with certainty. "The bond we've formed contains knowledge that could transform interspecies relations, knowledge worth protecting." Through viewport screens, they watched Nebulonian security forces approaching. Cooper made his decision, engaging launch sequence. The horizon shuddered, breaking free of crystal moorings, rising toward stars. As Nebulan receded below them, Aya felt no separation anxiety, no stretching of their bond. Distance seemed meaningless now, the connection between them stable, permanent. She could feel Kai's bittersweet emotions watching their home world fade, mixed with excitement for what lay ahead. "What will your people do?" Cooper asked, once they'd cleared planetary orbit. "They'll adapt," Kai replied, "as they always have, as all species must. We've proven the ancient fears unfounded, shown that bonds can thrive across distance." "And Earth?" Aya wondered. "Will they welcome what we represent?" Cooper's expression softened slightly. "Earth has survived first contact with dozens of species. I suspect they'll survive two people in love regardless of biology." The word love hung in the air, neither confirming nor denying its truth, though both felt its truth through their bond. As stars streaked past the viewports, Kai turned to Aya. "I can feel your world through your memories, your oceans, your forests, your cities." "Soon you'll see them firsthand," Aya promised. "And someday perhaps others will follow. Not just diplomatic missions or scientific exchanges, but true connections between our peoples." "One resonance at a time," Aya agreed, taking Kai's hand. Their synchronization was visible now, a subtle glow that pulsed between them with each heartbeat, evidence of something unprecedented, something that transcended xenobiology, political boundaries, even the vast distances between stars. Whatever challenges awaited them on Earth or beyond, they would face together. Two beings forever changed by an unlikely connection, two hearts beating as one across the cosmos, two worlds linked by a resonance that would echo through generations to come. Whatever name their respective species gave this bond, one thing was certain: the universe would never be the same. Now that they had found each other, now that they had proven that even across unfathomable